All right, everybody. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of All the Alternatives. I'm your host, one of your hosts, Hyro Para, and I have over here the handsome.
Mike McCain,
There you go.
waiting for you to say handsome.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. It's just like I forget. Like I look at your face, and there's so many words that come to my mind, like good words, not like bad words.
I'm sure they are.
Like handsome, beautiful, sexy, delicious. Anyway,
Oh my god.
yeah, guys. Hopefully you guys were attending some festivals this weekend. And by some festivals, I mean the adjacent festival in Atlantic City. We've only been talking about it, I think, every single episode that we've had for the last month or so. But yeah, really excited. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of footage for you guys as well. But yeah, so let me think. Let's start from the beginning. All right, so we ended up getting there a little bit late. I think
Yeah.
we got there around. Well, we got there like around late 2 or 3, I think. But we were in
We
the
got there
car
like
for a
3.
while. We were pre
Yeah.
gaming a little bit. I tried to get there before So Glow.
Yeah.
They started at 2. They were one of the earlier bands that started. And I had planned everything to get there before 2, but I forgot what ended up happening. We just ended up
Circumstances, yeah.
Yeah, we ended up just getting there. I had to drop my dog off at my parents, and we got there like at 2:15, like to the parking lot. So even if we would have like, halted and like ran our asses there, we probably would have caught like maybe a song. Probably not. Probably would have just saw them getting off stage. So at that point, we're like, it's not even worth it. And the next band we wanted to see was playing much later. So we were just pre-gaming. And then around 4 o'clock, we went in, and the setup was pretty simple. It was on the beach, which was very interesting. I've never been to a festival that was on the beach. And me and Mike were discussing beforehand because we were trying to figure out, like, what are we going to wear? What are we going to think it's going to be like? And
Yeah.
even I said, because, he was like, should we wear sandals? And I'm like, I don't think it's going to be like on the sand. I feel like they're going to have like platforms for people to walk and stuff like that.
It was
No,
on the sand.
yeah, 100%. It was all on the sand. I wore my high top Vans, which actually ended up being pretty good. I didn't get a lot of sand in my shoe, but it was definitely not like the most comfortable place to
Yeah.
walk around, and just especially when you're drunk.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, no, it was really dope though. I mean, we came in. There was three stages. There was a Monopoly related, so you had like a thimble stage, the boot stage, and what was the last stage? The main
I
stage.
don't even think I noticed what it was.
Car? No.
Nah, was it the Monopoly hat?
Top Hat? Oh,
Yeah,
Top Hat. Yeah, I think it's
was
Top
it
Hat stage.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was where the main headliners were performing on the Top Hat stage. So we came in, and basically by the entrance where we were at, you had the two stages, the thimble and the boot stage side by side, and
They're
then the
adjacent.
main, yeah, adjacent. Hey, and then the main stage was on the complete opposite side, which I thought
Yeah.
was kind of interesting at first. I was wondering why they didn't spread them out more, but they had a pretty good what do you call it thing going.
Like slick
They
setup.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So on that far stage, they didn't really have to worry so much about when they were playing over there, but with the two stages next to each other, it was almost like one stage would be setting up while the other stage were performing, so that there was virtually no downtime. As soon as one band ended, the next band was ready to go. So that was pretty cool. That's something that it's with festivals, you really have to move around a lot more, and like sometimes you'll
Yeah.
have to leave like a stage a little bit early to get to another stage a little bit, to get better seats, I guess, or whatever, better sight. But here you didn't have to really worry about that. The two stages right next to each other. So when we came in, I discovered, actually ended up being like one of my well, definitely out of the new bands that I heard, it was my favorite. The band is called Folly, and apparently they've been playing for a while now. They're actually a Jersey native band, so it's
Yeah,
really cool that,
Sussex.
yeah, it's from Sussex. But yeah, man, they blew me away. They were amazing. They were really, really good. We came in and they were playing some like metal type uh screamo, which is right up my alley. I love stuff like that. But then they would go into this like weird breakdown, not a breakdown, but like this different section in the middle where they would go into like this ska thing. And I was just like, I don't know. We have a couple videos. I don't know if we actually caught that on any of the videos, but it was
Mm.
something that I kept noticing. I'm like, I love that. I love, it was just like you got this high energy, high octane band, everything, and then they would come into this section and this like ska, on the upbeat kind of rhythm thing would go. And, like it's hard for me to really explain it until you hear it because it's like, wait,
Mhm.
that sounds like a crazy transition. It probably wouldn't fit well, but it fit perfectly. It was
It fit
just
perfect, yeah.
so well done. I was very impressed. I loved it. And I was just like, from the get go, they were the first band that we saw. And I was just like, this is already one of my favorite bands, So, yeah, I actually got a couple of videos over here that I'm going to play real quick so you guys can see. I'll do my crappy video first. Mike took all the good videos, so anything that you guys, are like, oh wow, I could actually see stuff. That's Mike.
You're welcome.
All right, here we go. So we got Folly over here on the thimble stage.
I think this is the first video I took. We kind of moved closer later on.
Yeah. Trying to see if I got the breakdown of this. It's a 40-second video. I think it's gonna cut out right before. I feel like they probably went into it right there, but yeah. So kind of gives you an idea of what they kind of sound like. Like I said, a very metal, very heavy sounding band, but with those little ska influences in there. Here,
Yeah,
here's
it's
a
kind
little
of
bit.
cool how like, bands doing this fusion thing.
Yeah, I mean, I love it, and like I said, I never heard it before. And if you would have told me, like I heard this band, it was metal ska, I'd have been like, what? But like the way they did it, it was really seamless. Ah, okay. Still really dope. It's pretty good footage, but yeah, like I said, just different. It's like they fit in really, fit in with a lot of the other bands because I think the main kind of genre is kind of like this metal punk, thing.
Yeah,
But with that little difference, man, that was really, really awesome. And stage presence was really good too. The guy, the lead singer, he was talking about how he was a native from New Jersey, loves playing there. I mean, that instantly sold me as well, on top of
yeah.
the good music he was playing. Very clear, very, very clear. And I only say that because this at least well, the next band that we heard was not so much. But I just yeah, I if I had to give them like a rating for being a band that, they performed at like 4, on a festival, which, if you go to festivals, typically the good performers aren't really going on until like 5, 6 o'clock. So for being that early, like they were amazing. Like I would have watched them as a headliner. You know what I'm saying? So very, very impressed with this band, Folly. Just to kind of give a little bit more background, they are from Sussex, New Jersey. They define themselves as hardcore metal, punk, and ska. Um, yeah, and they only released 2 albums. They were around more prevalent in the late 90s, going into the 2000s, and then they kind of disbanded. So I think recently in the last, like, it looks like 2022, they kind of came back. So they just started performing again.
Like,
I'm
yeah, they
wondering.
don't have many shows. I was looking at let's see what kind of shows they have around here. I think the closest one is Baltimore.
Mm,
This summer. Don't really have that many around here, but we'll keep looking and keep everyone updated on that.
yeah, I was gonna say that. I'm wondering if, like, this whole uh revival wave of like music and sense of like performing on live, from COVID ending, and like I wonder if that's kind of like bringing a lot of these bands back, because
Oh,
like
maybe.
they weren't performing for so long, and now there's a wave. Like, there's clearly a wave this year. There's a ton of
Yeah.
festivals, a ton of people are performing. Wonder if these bands that have disbanded, and like Motion City, for instance, which we'll get into more later, but they had disbanded as well, or the lead singer at least wasn't doing it. He came back just recently. I think the same thing last year. So I don't think that's a coincidence. I think there's definitely a correlation there
You
between.
might be onto something because when we were watching Meet Me in the Bathroom,
Mhm.
right after 9/11, that's when like people started moving to Bushwick and people were quitting their jobs and starting bands and like writing music. So maybe
Mhm.
after a certain like the global or national crisis, people kind of like realize what they want to do, and they kind of just go back into focusing on their passion.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That, and also like I think there's a lot of money to be made this year with the festivals, because not to not only mentioning the amount of festivals and performance that are happening, but the price increase. I mean, Jesus
Oh
Christ, bro.
yeah,
$200 for a regular ticket. I mean, I think when I went to Bamboozle 10 years ago or 15 years ago, it was like 60 or $80. If I had to
jeez,
guess, I want to say closer to $60. I mean, it was a general admission ticket, so it couldn't have been that much.
yeah.
This year was like 200 for regular. VIP is probably plus, and they changed a lot of things too. But we'll get to that later. Let's carry on now with the second band that we saw. So that was Incendiary, which very similar in genre, like metal band. Definitely really hardcore with the screamo and everything. I will say I like them. I did like them a lot. I thought they had a much dirtier sound. I don't know if that's exactly what they were going for, or if it was just kind of like some sort of not technical issue, but I guess more of like an acoustic thing, because um in my what's the word I'm thinking? I can't think. Opinion.
Opinion.
In my opinion, there we go. Um I thought that the lead guitarist, it sounded like the lead guitarist's volume and gain was much louder than the rest of the instruments, and it tended to kind of like just overpower things at some point. There's certain parts of the set where things were really muddy, and it didn't sound bad. Like, it's not like, oh, he's hitting wrong notes or something. Like, everyone's playing what they're supposed to play,
Yeah.
but it's just his volume is just kind of masking. So I can't hear the other guitars or the basses as
Mm,
clearly. It just kind of sounds muddled together as like one thing, as opposed to like separate people playing together, if
mm,
that makes sense. That's the way that I took it. And I don't know if it's because maybe it was just the contrast of going from Folly, which they sounded very clean. I could hear like everything perfectly. It felt, going to that. And sometimes that's just preference. Sometimes that's just the way people want to sound. They want to
yeah.
have a much darker, grittier, that type of sound, which is like, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just something that I notice. And personally for me, just because I'm kind of like, I get a little nitpicky as an engineer and stuff, I would have not went that direction. But
Mm.
um no, I mean, the lead guitarist was sick. I mean, he was awesome. He was killing
He
it,
still
just
sounded
shredding it.
pretty good to me. I didn't really notice all that.
Yeah,
I
no,
will
no,
say,
don't get me wrong. Like, in a technical, like as a band performing, like they were great. They performed
yeah,
right. Technically was great. It was just more of like whoever
yeah.
mixed their sound, amps, volume, all that stuff. I felt like it could have been done a little bit better, but that's just my opinion. That's all.
Musically, sound wise, though, they kind of, especially from the lead singer, he kind of had like a hip hop kind of cadence to me. You remind me of like
Yeah,
a little bit like kind of like Beastie Boys or like
yeah.
Rage Against the Machine.
Actually, I didn't look that up. That was something that I did want to see, but it definitely reminded me of like the late '90s, like Limp Bizkit, like you
Yeah,
said, Beastie Boys, that rock rap fusion. His cadence definitely was like that, or like Rage Against the Machine, even. You know what I mean? Like, he
yeah.
had that kind of flow, so to speak. But I wanted to see that, yeah, when they performed, or when they were hot, because I wouldn't be surprised.
They've been
Oh
around for
no,
a while. I think,
they started from 2007.
yeah,
Okay, so that's definitely much later than the rest of those guys that were playing. It's funny
yeah.
because when I worked at Sam Ash, just going on a little tangent, my guitar manager, his name was Dave. Dave, I forgot your last name, but anyway, he's part of this band called Dog Eat Dog, and they are that style. They were like the rock, rap, Limp Bizkit, Beastie Boys kind of thing, right? But that died out pretty quickly